Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on just the Flash movie as well as just the DCEU in general. So this year, in a cinematic sense, was a very dry one for DC fans. Sure, like Comic-Con was awesome as we got like Shazam and Aquaman trailers, and then Aquaman itself was released early this month, and in my opinion was a great movie. I didn't do a review on it, but I thought it was very, very good. I only had a couple of issues with the movie. But that was the only DC movie released this year in regards to live action. And next year, in regards to the DCEU or DC Cinematic Universe, Shazam is the only movie being released. We have the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie, but that is essentially like an Elseworlds sort of story. Or at least we're led to believe that at the moment. Who knows? They could just chuck in a random, surprise and, Ben Affleck's Batman shows up. But I think we all know that's not going to happen. Wonder Woman 2 or Wonder Woman 1984 was supposed to come out in November next year. But that has been moved back to June of 2020, I'm pretty sure. So it can be released around the same time that the first one was. Which at first I thought was a strange move. At first I thought, okay, maybe they're don't want to release it a month after the Joker movie. But then when you look at the competition coming out around that time, Frozen 2 comes out just before that, and the new Star Wars movie comes out shortly after that. So you can really see this as a smart move, as we have seen, examples this year with Into the Spider-Verse, Bumblebee, the new Mary Poppins, and Aquaman competing for moviegoers' money, at this end period of the year, and not everyone has that amount of money to go see every single movie. So due to that, not every movie is going to succeed. Aquaman has overachieved in many people's eyes. I think it's around the money I thought it would get, but it's just beating all these other ones. And also, in regards to Wonder Woman, that movie had great legs and allowed it to be, as successful as it was, as it didn't have any major competition during its theatrical release. Movies were coming out, but they weren't blockbusters that were competing for Wonder Woman's money. But as I was saying, Aquaman was the only DC Cinematic Universe movie released this year, and the reason for that is because earlier this year, a movie was scheduled to be released, and it probably would have if, to use an expletive, shit hadn't hit the fan. And that movie was the solo Flash movie, which if released, would have starred Ezra Miller as Barry Allen, aka The Flash, Kiersey Clemons as Iris West, Billy Crudup as Henry Allen, and directed by Rick Famuyiwa. But obviously this movie was never released. And since the initial delay to the movie that, moved it out of that release slot, the Flash movie has probably been the DC movie with the most drama around it. Maybe tied with the Batman movie, but seeing that the Flash movie was already supposed to be out by this point, where we are right now, I guess that puts it just above the Batman in regards to drama and speculation around it. Maybe just the Ben Affleck stuff maybe puts the Batman stuff maybe up there as well. But in regards to the Flash, what's going on with it? Well, I guess the first thing to talk about is the main character himself, the Flash himself, that being Ezra Miller. Now, most of you would know the DC cinematic stuff isn't the only big universe that Ezra Miller is attached to. He is also a major player in the Fantastic Beasts franchise, which is obviously a part of the well-known Harry Potter universe. Now, the third entry into the Fantastic Beasts franchise is scheduled to start production in July of 2019, and the Flash movie at first was rumored to be scheduled for production in March of 2019 if everything went perfectly and the script was 100% at that point in time. But that isn't the case due to new people being brought into the project. So due to that and the head-on collision that would have been, the Fantastic Beasts third film starting production, the Flash movie was just straight up delayed essentially without a new rough date for production to start. However, it is now rumored, and I have to scream this, rumored to be starting production in late 2019, which would mean that the movie probably wouldn't come out until sometime in 2021, most likely sometime in early 2021. But this is what Ezra Miller himself had to say about the Flash movie. Nothing is ever certain in this world, but as certain as things get, we're making a effing crazy dope Flash movie. It's one of my great life dreams. And just the fact that we're on the way, anyone who knows about Barry Allen knows he may arrive late, very late, but once he gets there, it's all solved. We have to trust. And overall, I do have faith that the movie will still be made. I mean, the Flash as a character isn't an extremely difficult character to get right. In Justice League, sure, he wasn't amazing, but I think that was just due to how they decided to use him in that movie. Once Barry Allen gets a spotlight in his own film, then they can portray the character exactly how they want and how he should be portrayed instead of using him as the physical embodiment of an icebreaker or an attempted icebreaker. Now, I know people don't like Ezra Miller in the role, said, oh, he doesn't fit the Flash. I think he can still pull off a good Barry Allen. He just has to be the focus and have some decent writing. Obviously, for those that have like sort of read what Barry Allen was meant to be in Justice League before the Joss Whedon stuff happened, he was meant to be different, but sort of they just changed how his character was meant to be after all the rewrites. So I think he didn't get the best first impression in Justice League. But what about the other people attached to the project? Like, what's going on with them? Well, outside of Barry Allen, I guess the next major key player is that of Iris West, who is set to be played by Kiersey Clemons. Now, she is essentially the last remaining evidence, or like just, sort of like remnants of Rick Famuyiwa ever being attached to this project, as she was cast by him. With Kiersey being in the film, that probably got Rick Famuyiwa the job, might I say, that being dope. Now, she has said in interviews that she is still attached to play the role of Iris West. For those that didn't know, she was supposed to be in Justice League as the same character, but her scenes were actually cut. The scene that most people know about is the one where Barry is like in like a pet shop, I think, and he saves Iris from a car crash with like hot dogs flying around and all of that. And the other one I know of was Barry in like a library, I think it was, and he was like borderline stalking Iris, and then he has like an awkward confrontation with Iris. But, let's not judge Barry too harshly on that one, alright? But Rick Famuyiwa wasn't the only one in support of Kiersey's casting. Zack Snyder, from what I know, was also a big fan of her casting and her playing the role of Iris West. And Zack was like sort of like the reason she was in the movie. I don't think it would have been necessary to have Iris West in there, but I think he wanted to sort of plant seeds with her and just have some sort of minor world building for Barry Allen as a character with some supporting characters with her and others. But as we know, this DC cinematic universe seems to sort of be steering away from what Zack was doing, so who knows what that means for Kiersey as Iris. They might even do the Flash movie without Iris West in it, who knows. I'd rather have as many supporting characters as you can, like, to build the universe, but if she goes, I guess. Now, as I was saying, Kiersey was essentially the last remaining evidence of Rick Famuyiwa ever being attached to the Flash movie, but you could argue that maybe Billy Crudup as Henry Allen was a part of Rick's journey as well. But Billy was only cast as Henry maybe like 5 to 6 weeks before Rick got the boot and wasn't a part of it anymore. So it's hard to tell who cast Henry Allen for this universe, because it is important to remember that Billy Crudup was in Watchmen, is that another Zack Snyder movie, so maybe he got him the role and was like, yo, be in The Flash, and you also be in Justice League for a bit, come join this universe, or something like that. Now, we did see Billy Crudup's Henry Allen for, a brief couple of scenes in Justice League, towards the beginning and towards the end. And I did enjoy the relationship between him and Ezra Miller. I thought, they're pretty good, and I maybe did want to see more of that. Of course, you had people comparing it to the TV show, and some having the audacity to say the movie copied the TV show, when both of them got all of that from the comics. But there were rumors early last year, like months before Justice League came out, maybe like 5 to 6 months before Justice League came out, that Billy Crudup had actually dropped out of the role of Henry Allen. And then also, I think in Justice League, like, he wasn't credited or something like that. I heard rumors, I can't remember if that's true. But from what I know, at least, it wasn't officially confirmed that he's leaving. If it was, let me know. But from what I read, it was just like rumors and various like clickbait from the sites that I think most of us know of. So it's hard to trust that. But I would still like to see Billy in this role. I think he did a good job from what we saw. And I guess the last people involved with the movie to talk about are that of the writers and directors for the film, that being John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein, who were both writers on Spider-Man Homecoming. Now, I like John Francis Daley as an actor, freaks and geeks, let's rock it. And I enjoyed Game Night, which I'm pretty sure was directed by both of these dudes. So I am actually a big fan of this director and writer attachment combo. I guess it just matters what direction the film goes in, with both tone as well as just the general story. Are we going to be dealing with some traumatic and dark stuff around the death of Nora Allen? Or is it going to be a fun Flash movie with maybe like the Rogues as the villains or something crazy like that? And they just sort of tease the potential future story revolving around Barry delving deeper into finding his mother's killer. Or they could sprinkle that throughout the movie, like him looking at various evidence and stuff like that. That's probably the big issue that is faced in the movie in regards to having these guys attached. Personally, I would like to just see a fun Flash movie with that crazy Speed Force stuff, and it's just, Barry learning to become a proper hero for Central City following Justice League. And then maybe for a sequel, you could bring in like James Wan, the Aquaman director, to handle maybe a darker storyline around Reverse Flash and all of that. Some of you might already know this, but James Wan, when he was brought into Warner Brothers and DC for this stuff, he had the choice between the Flash movie or an Aquaman movie. Of course, we know which one he picked, but since I heard this and learned of this, I just really wanted to see what he would do with the Flash. Imagine like James Wan's take on Black Flash and stuff like that would be creepy as hell. But if worst comes to worst, what will happen with the Flash character in the DC cinematic landscape? And by worst comes to worst, I mean that Ezra Miller drops out and the Barry Allen character just becomes like unusable essentially. Well, I think the simple answer is Wally West. And I will just give you like a sort of like a simple way to introduce him. Like, don't look too deep into this, but you could have Wally West like be an innocent bystander around a crime scene involving the Flash, who could just be a blur or stunt person in a suit. You know, if you can't get Ezra Miller, that's what you're gonna have to do, I guess. The situation could involve like a bomb or of sorts, something very lethal, maybe something involving one of the rogues. The Flash dies in this incident, but some of his lightning hits Wally and connects him to the Speed Force and gives him powers. You could still have Iris West involved with this character in this movie, as a side character, but this would give us like a fresh live action character in the form of Wally West. And you can't compare it to the TV shows as it's not Barry Allen as the Flash, and let's be honest, Wally West on TV wasn't really handled that well. Not Ken Lonsdale's fault, the writing was just pretty poor. And I think the thing that would be a major positive in regards to people wanting to see this movie would be if you make Wally a teen, like 17 or 18, like skip all of the Kid Flash stuff and just make him the new Flash at a younger age. You could even make him younger if you want, like maybe like 15 or 16. I know some people might have an issue with that, but if Barry Allen just becomes or just ends up being too much of an issue to use unless having to recast him, then why not just go for a straight up younger Wally West Flash? Instead of Eobard Thawne, you could use Hunter Zolomon, which I think would be an easier story to tell, as it doesn't involve the past or the future. It's just all present day. I personally just think that would work. And in the movie, I'm not saying that Wally just gets a red suit and he's the Flash the whole movie. You could give him the Kid Flash suit as like an homage to that. Like, he still calls himself maybe the Flash, or maybe he's just running around as a new speedster without a name, but he wears like a yellow suit. And then by the end of the movie, he officially adopts the mantle of the Flash of Central City, wears a new red suit, and all of that. That's what you could do for the movie. I think that would work pretty well. But that's all if like you can't use Barry Allen anymore. Like, this is like not the last resort, but if like a worst comes to worst sort of situation, you just use Wally West instead of Barry Allen. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like and it shows support. Let me know in the comment section down below. Sorry, what are your opinions? What are your thoughts on the Flash movie? Do you think it's ever going to be made? I'm pretty positive on it. I'm pretty sure it's going to be made, just matters when. But would you prefer, Barry Allen there, or would you prefer Wally West? Let me know in the comment section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.